Yes.
Can you explain in what ways our children make us sad? For a while, I will turn on the light. Oops. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
What's your answer? Okay, so here we will discuss this answer. Yeah, number 3. In what ways our children can make us sad now? First answer I will read. We all want our children to be better than we are. They should be smarter, healthier, better looking, happier, and more successful than we. Yes. And then when we find that it is probably not going to happen, we feel like we have somehow failed to do our parental job correctly. Yes, this is right. As parents, we should want our children to be more successful than we are. Okay, and if this do not happen, we might think that somehow we failed doing our parental job to our children. Okay, so this scenario makes parents sad. Okay, that one. What about the second answer? Please read the second answer.
Because of our experience, we know how to approach life problems, and we think we can guide our children in ways to avoid our mistakes. Sometimes they listen to us, but many times they have to test our judgment and find out for themselves. When the uh,
Inevitable.
inevitable happens, we can't help but feel sad that they didn't take our advice and avoid some unnecessary unpleasantness in their lives.
Okay. Do you understand the word inevitable? Do you understand?
No, I don't know about the meaning.
Okay, so let's have this first. Okay. Okay. Can you see the word now? Words now? Can
Yeah.
you see? Okay. Inevitable means impossible to avoid or prevent. Meaning to say, something that cannot be avoided. Just like getting sick. Getting sick is impossible to avoid at all times. No matter how we take good care of our health, but there are times that we get sick. So this is an example of inevitable. This means impossible to avoid or prevent. Each of us cannot get away from getting sick, no matter how hard we tried to to take good care of ourselves. There is really a time, or there are really times in our lives that we get sick. So that means inevitable. You cannot get away from it. You cannot prevent from it to happen. Do you understand the word?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Sometimes also, yeah, we have here. So when we say impossible, inevitable, something we cannot control on. It is beyond our control. Okay. Just like disasters. Do you know disasters?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is inevitable. We cannot prevent earthquake to happen, right? We cannot avoid typhoon to happen. No, it's beyond of our control. So that means inevitable, inevitable. What about here? We have on the job. Please read on the job.
The on the job done or happening while at work.
Yes, there are many things that happens while a person is on his work or is on her work. Okay? So example, we wake up early in the morning and then we reported to our job starting at 8 o'clock in the morning until 5 p.m., 5 in the evening. So there are a lot of things could happen on the job because you will be spending, I think, 8 hours in the office or in your workplace. So it is possible that, yeah, there are a lot of things or work happen on the job. Do you understand this word now?
Yeah.
Yes. Prior. Prior, what is that? Please read.
Mm.
Prior.
Coming in time, order, or importance.
Yes. Prior meaning to say it happens before. Just like for example, prior. Okay. Example. A person is being reported with being COVID positive. Okay. Example, okay, in the office, in the workplace. And then one morning, it was found out that the manager, example, that the manager is tested positive. So people would ask, oh, what was his prior activity before he was tested positive? Where did he visit? Who was with him? So meaning to say, when we say prior, the the activity that happened first before another activity happened. Do you get me?
Yeah.
Okay, example. Oh, example in the news. Oh, the manager of a certain company is tested COVID positive. So one of the questions of the people hearing the news would be, oh, what was his prior? What was his prior activity before he was tested positive? Where did he go? Who was with him? Did he attend to a party? Did he attend to a gathering, a social gathering? Where did he got that virus? So meaning to say, when we say prior, an activity happened, okay, there are two activities, okay? This activity happened this time, example. Now, when we say prior, the first, so what is the first activity or the prior activity before the second activity happened? And that is prior. Are we good in that? Okay, are we okay in the word? Do you understand clearly the word?
Yes, I
Okay, so let's move on the here end product. Okay, please read what is end product. End product, please read.
the results. The end process. The results at the end of the process.
End product, thing that results at the end of a process. Okay. Now, can you tell me What is the end product of striving hard in our studies? What is the end product? What is the result of doing hard in our studies?
Maybe that's in my country, maybe the people can receive a license.
Yes, license. Yes. Okay, that is one of the end product. One of the no, there are many end products when a person strive hard in her studies or in his studies. One is, of course, he can finish a degree. He will become He can become a doctor, an engineer, a teacher, a nurse, a police, depending on what he studies. Okay? So the end product, if he will do good, if he strive hard on his studies, then he can be professional. Another is, yeah, he can get good job, high paying job. And another is he will have many opportunities in the future. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So end product
Yeah.
means the result of what have you started. What have you started? Okay. If you started it right, if you started it good, then you will have good end products. But example, if you are a student, if a student does not uh, does not um, do hard working in his studies. So he is spending time with his friends and not attending to his classes. Okay, the end product of that is he will get fail, yeah, failing grades. He will get failing grades and he cannot graduate on time. He cannot finish his studies on time. So that is an example of if you do a good work, then you will have many good end products. But if you have also done bad works, then you will have to harvest many bad end products. Okay, are we clear with this word? Do you understand this one?
Yeah.
Yes. What about commodity?
Something that can be bought and sold.
Do you understand this one?
Yes.
Yes. It's anything. It's anything that can be bought and can be sold. No. There are many kinds of business persons. So in this case, we can say that as buy and sell. Now, commodity, something that can be bought and can be sold. No. I can buy a bunch of clothing. Okay, maybe I can go to a big city in the Philippines where there is a lower price of the clothes, the dresses, or the women's clothing. And then when I go back to my place, I have to sold that one. So that's an example of, yeah, commodity, something that can be bought and sold. Okay. There are many persons who are doing this kind of business. Buy and sell. Okay, here. Buy, sell. They have to buy bulk of items and then they have to sell it. Of course, having their uh, what is that? Profit. Okay, that is commodity. Anything, yeah, can be bought and can be sold. Next, we have here abstraction. Okay, read.
Theoretical matter as opposed to something concrete.
Concrete now. When we say concrete, it is something that you can really see. But when we say abstract, it, it, what is that? It is in someone's mind. Okay, just like when you are uh when you are, what is that, planning to have your own house, you have to see concrete examples of how does your house look like. Now you will go to the engineer, you will let, or maybe you can draw with yourself. Okay, I want to build a house like this with three rooms. Here in this part is the kitchen and the other part is the living room. So you have to draw in order for it to be concrete, meaning to say in order for it to can be clearly see the details. But when we say abstraction, you have the drawing, but it is only in your mind. You are just imagining. Do you know the word imagine?
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's abstract. Okay, it's abstract. It's only you. It's only you who can visualize what is the the design of your house. If you will not put it into drawing. Okay, abstractions means you have the plans, you have the ideas, you have the designs, but it is only in your mind. Now, it is not complete. It
yes.
cannot it cannot be seen to your wife, to your partner. But however, when you get a pencil and a paper and you draw your dream house, how does it look like? Where is the three rooms located in your house? Where are the three rooms should be located in your house? Then you have to draw it in a paper. So that means it is now concrete. Your wife can clearly see it. Do you understand abstraction?
Yeah.
Yes. It is more on the mind's, yeah, mind thing. It can only be imagined. It cannot clearly be seen. So the opposite of that is concrete, where you can see a lot of examples. Now, when you look for house designs, when you plan to build your house, you have to see concrete things, right? Concrete
Mm,
designs.
no, I don't have an experience in the building a new house because I just bought a house.
Okay, already made, ready to transfer house.
Yeah.
Okay. But there are some things that you need to see the sample first before you will buy, right?
Yes, I think
Yes.
the first thing very important. Every time when I do something, I have to imagine detail in my mind. Yeah.
Oh, so you are more on abstraction. Okay, imagining it in your mind, figuring out in your mind. Okay. So next we have here lackadaisical. Oh, have you noticed the words are getting hard, right? The
Yeah.
vocabularies are getting hard. And you know what? When you get familiar of these words, wow, you can be a good English speaker, English communicator. Yeah. The book has provided you with many vocabulary that you can use. Oh, here we have lackadaisical, lackadaisical. What does that mean? Please read.
Doing something in lazy or careless way.
It means doing lazy or careless way. Now, when you do it, example, when a student does his assignment in lackadaisical way. Okay, I will write the sentence. When a student lackadaisical way, okay. When a student is doing his assignment in the class in a lackadaisical way, he will get a low score. Oh, this is an example of using the word in a sentence. Do you understand now the sentence?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
I understand.
Yes. When a student do his assignment in the classroom in a lazy or careless way, then for sure he will get, what is that, a low score. Example, when he is solving mathematic problems. Do you still remember when you were a student? Then we were asked to solve problems in our mathematics class, and we were asked to show the solutions of our answers. Do you still remember that one? In our math class?
I,
In our math class?
mm, yes, maybe when I was student, I'm very lazy learning. And every time um uh I can fail many times in the exam.
Okay, so maybe you did not focus well on your studies because maybe you are just young at that time. So that is why, what do you want your son now? To be responsible and to be serious in his studies. Do you want him also to get failing scores in the exam or no?
Of course, no.
Okay. So that's what we mean by that we have learned from our mistakes. And we don't want our children also to do the mistakes that we did in the past. So yeah, it was our mistake before that sometimes we were lazy or careless in doing our school activity. Yeah, it was a mistake. And we know what is the end result of that. Okay. Because, yeah, of showing carelessness and being lazy in our class activities, we know already what is the end product of that. It's not a good result, right?
Yeah,
Yes. So because we have learned from that experience that it is not good and it will only give us the bad end product, this time we don't want our children to do that thing, to experience that one, right?
yeah,
Yes, that is why we keep on telling them to be good in their studies, to be good in everything they do. Okay. Yes, so this is lackadaisical, meaning to say doing in a lazy or careless way. Yeah. If you are careless when you answer mathematics quiz, then you will definitely get those scores because there are a lot of rules to remember in solving mathematical equations. And you know what? When I was in college, oh, I really hate attending to my mathematics class.
Yeah.
It was really difficult for me. No matter how I tried hard to listen to the explanation of my teacher, yeah, in the classroom. But you know what? During quiz, during exam, I really have headache. It seems that I forgot everything what she had discussed to us prior to our exam, and I really had a very hard time, a very difficult time answering the exam in math. I'm not good in mathematics. I'm not good in numbers. It's a good thing that, oh, I have finished my studies. And I don't want to go back the time to answer mathematics, questions. Here we have, oh, lapse. Lapse, read.
Temporary failure.
Okay. It's a temporary failure. Sometimes we have lapses, all right? Sometimes we have lapses. Since we are just human being, since we are just human beings, we cannot have some lapses. Lapses means mistakes or errors, or mistakes or errors, or since we are just human beings, we cannot avoid to have some, okay, or look at this one. Since we are just human beings, it is inevitable. Okay? Okay, we will use the word. It is inevitable or we cannot avoid, okay?
Yeah.
Since we are just human beings, it is inevitable. It is inevitable to have some lapses or mistakes or errors in our actions. Okay, look at that one. I am using now the two difficult words in a sentence. Since we are just, okay, that one, please read. Please read my example.
Since we are just human beings, it is inevitable to have some lapses or mistakes or errors in our actions.
Now, do you understand the sentence?
Yeah,
Yes, okay, so we are using now the two vocabulary, lapse and
inevitable.
inevitable. Okay, since we are human beings, we not one of us is perfect. Yeah, yes, we are not perfect. Even if we are already old, yeah, we are already adult, even if we have already finished our profession, it is not a guarantee that we will always do perfect action since we are just human beings. Since we are just human beings, it is impossible for us to avoid mistakes or errors. Now, when we say lapses, it is synonymous with the word errors and mistakes. So they are similar in meaning. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes, so it is inevitable for us to prevent sometimes errors and mistakes. All right, so that is, okay, my example. Now, when you know the meaning of the word, you can use it in the conversation. Next is glaring. Okay, please read what is glaring.
Um, Glaring, very obvious, very obvious.
Glaring, very obvious. Okay,
Yeah.
very obvious. Yeah. Do you understand this word?
Mm, no, I don't know.
Very obvious means very clear.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
very obvious. It's very clear. Okay, example. Oh, glare. Just like just like when you put a water in a clear glass. Clear glass. Do you know glass? Glass. Do you know glass? Do you know glass? Glass? Okay.
Uh,
When you
Lot of
put
water.
glass here, glass.
Uh,
Okay. It's very obvious. All right. Let's okay, let's have this example. When you put a wine on a white glass, the color of the wine is very obvious, it's very clear. Do you understand that one?
yes.
Yes, it's very clear, meaning to say, when we say very obvious, you can see all the details. It's very obvious, it's very clear. Perspective, what is that?
Point of view,
Do you understand this
clear.
word? Do you understand this word?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have our different point of view. Okay, as parents, we have different point of view. For other parents, they think their perspective is that they should be the one to decide what would be the course or the profession that their children will get. Yeah, if they want their children to become a doctor in the future, then they will let him enroll to be a doctor, even if their son doesn't like that course. Okay, that is their perspective. But on another side, there are some parents whose point of view is different. Just like you, uh, you will not think, you will not decide for the course that your son or daughter to take in the future. However, you will allow them to choose what they want. And that is an example, your point of view, your mindset, the way you think. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Live up to. What is this?
Be as good as what was expected or promised.
Live up to. Be as good as what was expected or promised. Live up to. Be as good as what was expected to promised or promised. Yeah, live up to. Like for example, yeah, as a parent, we have to live up to doing what is right and what is right and what is correct as what we expected, what we are expected to always give the best for our children. And yeah, we promise to ourselves, to our children, to give our best in order to support them in the future. So we have to live up to that. We have to maintain. We have to always remember that one. What about mean well?
Meanwhile, instant something good, kind, or appropriate, even if the result is bad. Yeah, clear.
Mean well. Yeah, intend good, kind, or appropriate, even if the result is bad. There are some cases like this that your intention is good, but yeah, it turned out that the result is bad. Example. Example when are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So mean well, intend good, kind, or appropriate, even if the result is bad. All right. Now, there are some people, you know what? There are some people who do good things. I, I, I have this in mind to be good to others, but you know what? Their way of helping others is bad. Okay. Just like, yeah, it is common to small kids. I've heard a lot of cases in the kids, especially in the elementary. Now they mean well. Example, they want to give foods. Well, how do you say that? Ah, they want to give. Okay, a student or a pupil would like to give free food to her classmates, and she doesn't have money. So the tendency is, yeah, she will do bad action. Bad action. She will get some money from her parents. And then when she goes to school, yeah, it turned out that she is a very generous classmate. Uh, what is that? Asking or giving some foods to their close friends. So he mean well, yeah, he thinks good, his action, he is thinking that he wants to give free food to her classmates. Okay, that is her thinking. But his way of doing that plan in mind is not good. So the tendency is it will have a bad result because he will be caught by the teacher. He will be caught by her parent that he is stealing some money. So that is an example of mean well, you think it positively in your mind. You want to do this good action to a certain group of people, but you don't have the capacity to make it happen. So you are planning to do some bad thing, bad move in order for you to realize that well planned in your mind. But at the end of the process, it will give you bad result. Okay, do you understand now?
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we have, okay, crave. Want very much. Do you understand this one?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, especially women, we always have many craves. Sometimes at work, we want, oh, I am craving for a milk tea. So we will order for a milk tea. And on the following day, oh, I am craving to eat pizza. So order again. Okay. So crave, this is something that you really want very much. You cannot wait to have it tomorrow, but you want it very right now. Okay, do you understand?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back now to the answers. All right. Yeah, we're done with this one. Sometimes they listen to us. Okay, when the inevitable happens, we can't help but feel sad. All right, that they didn't take our advices and avoid some unnecessary unpleasantness in their lives. Okay, so yes, yes, we as parents, we really tried very hard to share to our kids the mistakes that we have done in the past, and then try to tell them you should not do that because it will not give you a good result. But sometimes, yeah, our kids will not follow to us, right? Not
Yeah.
all the things that we tell our kids to do, not all of them will be followed. Sometimes they are hard-headed. Sometimes they are hard-headed. So when bad things happens to them, yeah, it make us feel sad. Okay? That they didn't take our advice and avoid some unnecessary unpleasantness in their lives. Okay, so these are now the answers of the two persons. Now, in what ways can our children make us sad? Now, the answer of the first person, he says that when his children is not more, no, his when his children will not become more successful than he is, then he will feel sad about it. Now, in the second person, when his children do not follow all his advices, then when something bad happens to them, it will make him feel sad. What about you as a father? In what ways can your children make you sad?
Because in my case, my children are still really little.
Yes.
So yeah, I think one day I will become the same people in the B paragraph because I think the children really curious about everything and they always to find out the something um, they can do. And I have to accept one day my children not will not following my advice. That will happen in my future. Yeah.
Yes, yes. It is inevitable, right? This one. It is inevitable. Yeah, we can expect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we are giving them 10 or 20 or 30 advices already. But those 30 or 40 advices we have given to them, yeah, they cannot follow all of them. They cannot follow all of those advices. Okay? As what you have said, children nowadays are very curious. And the moment that they feel curious about something, they will always find ways to try. Okay, so yeah, that makes us feel sad when we know that they are not following our advice. All right. Number 4, why is it difficult to be a good parent? Okay, please read answer number 1.
Parenting doesn't come with user's manual. Every mother and every father has to rely on the job,
Rely, rely,
rely on the job training rather than prior
prior,
experience, prior,
prior.
prior, prior experience. It is all a process of trial by error, and we all make lots of mistakes along the way.
Do you understand this answer?
Yeah,
Yes. Uh, Raising a child is not as easy as following a user's manual. Do you understand this one?
yeah,
Example, when you have your own car, when you have to follow the manual. When you are installing a new air condition at home, yeah, you have the manual, what to do first, what to install first. And when you just follow perfectly the steps in the user's manual, then everything will be okay. But this thing, following the user's manual, cannot be applied to parenting. Do you understand that one?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Every mother and every father has to rely to on the job training, just like this one. Yeah, we are in the process. We are still on the process of our on the job training in raising our kids. No, yeah, your children are still very young compared to mine. Mine is already 20 years old, but I am still on the process, on the job of training in raising her well. Because you know what? The level of their needs also increases as they get old, get big. Yeah. Before, I only have few concerns since she is just only a little kid, a little daughter. But since she is growing up now into a young lady, I need also to level up my parenting style to her because she is now facing the real life. Okay? She is now about to graduate in her course, and as a parent, I am now letting her see the real life, what life is when she is in the real battlefield, when she will start working in her job. So you see, the level of need also increases when you raise a child. Okay, so
Yeah.
it is not as easy as following the user's manual. You have to learn on the job training. Okay, you cannot plainly copy the style of the other parent. You cannot copy because you have different kids, right? Maybe that style of parenting is effective to them because they have another set of kids, but you cannot apply that to you because you also have a different what is that kids. It is all a process of trial by error, and we all make lots of mistakes along the way. Now, just like for example, in raising a son, when our son example, if your son is not obedient always in following your advice, for other parents, they will answer that problem by giving punishment for other parents. When their son do not follow, do not obey their advice to him, they will always give punishment to their son. And it may sound effective, but for other son, there are kind of son who is not afraid to have punishment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So meaning to say it is not effective. Giving punishment to our kid whenever he does not follow to our advice is not a guarantee because yeah, other kid is afraid to be punished by her parents, by his parents. But others, and they do not take it seriously. It's okay with them when they are get punished. So that means one style of parenting is not similar to all the parents. You have to look for what is that the best method that what is that effective in raising your children, okay? It is all a process of trial by error. All right, so this is how challenging parenting is. Next, number two, read number two.
The main reason that parenting is so hard is because we care so much about the end product. If we were only talking about some commodity like a radio or abstraction such as money, we could afford to be more
Luck.
lackadaisical
Okay.
about an occasional lapse in performance. But we always realize that we are dealing with our own children whom we love and cherish and want even more than the best for. So we are always hypercritical of our own job performance. Every error is a glaring failure from our
Exaggerated. Exaggerated perspective.
exact perspective.
Oh, look at this one. One, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Oh, I really like this book. You know what? Because this book teaches us how to use the new vocabulary in conversation. Do you get me?
Can
Okay.
you repeat?
Okay. I like this book, the Speak Your Mind book, because this teaches us how to use the vocabulary or the new English words in a communication, just like this one,
Yeah,
right? Do you see? Do you see that
yeah,
this is a long answer, and it models you how to use, yeah, the vocabulary words. Okay, we have just learned these words, all right, a while ago. And now you can see that words in this paragraph. So it teaches you how to use these words to present, to express your minds, to speak your mind. So this book is really good. Yeah, for you to master your communication skills. Okay. So we have here, okay, let's read again. The main reason of parenting is so hard is because we care so much about the end product. End product is the best result. Okay. Yeah, it is very true that what makes parenting is very difficult because we are always imagining, we are always looking forward to the end product, to the best result. We always want to see the best in all our children, right?
yeah,
In raising them at this early age, we keep on looking forward that when they grow up, when they grow big, they will become the best version of themselves in whatever aspects in life, in all aspects of life. Now, if we were only talking about some commodity like radio or abstraction such as money, we could afford to be more lakay lackadaisical about an occasional lapse. Okay, lackadaisical means lazy about an occasional lapse in performance. Okay, if we only think about commodity, when we say commodity, it is something that can be that can be bought and can be sold. Okay, but
yeah,
yeah, we cannot buy. Yeah, the real thing is that we cannot buy our kids, and we cannot also sell our kids. Okay, so that is why it is so difficult, it is so hard. Yeah, parenting is so hard because they cannot be compared to any commodity. When we say commodity, anything that can be bought in the market. And when we don't like it anymore, we can sell it to other people who like it. But no, our kids cannot be compared to this commodity, cannot be compared to this abstraction. Because yes, we have this in our mind. We always imagine that I want to see my children in the future become successful, happy, and financially stable with their own family. But that abstraction in your mind should be concrete, should be realized. Because as a parent, yeah, you will be happy seeing your daughter, seeing your son in the future who is also happy and successful in their life. So you want to see the concrete result of your plan. Okay?
Yeah.
But we always realize that we are dealing with our own children, whom we loved and cherished, and want even more than the best for. So we are always hypercritical of our own job performance. Okay? Since we always think of the best of our children, when we say hypercritical, meaning to say very careful. When we say hypercritical, we always tend to be very careful of our job performance as a parent to them. Uh, we try our best to do the good things because they will imitate what they see in us. So we are our first critic. We are the critic of ourselves, whether we are doing our good job. Okay? Every error is a glaring failure from our exaggerated perspective. When we say exaggerated, meaning to say, when we say exaggerated, sometimes it's not believable already. It's impossible already. Exaggerated meaning to say you are making it unreliable. You are making it impossible already. We have many exaggerated dreams and even wants and wishes for our children. Okay, we have many, just like an example of an exaggerated perspective. Okay, I will give you an example of this example. Yeah, as what I have told you a while ago, that there are kind of parents who, what is that, who are the ones who decide what their children will become in the future. Example, this parent have 4 kids. He wants his eldest kid to become a doctor. He wants his second kid to become an engineer. He wants his third kid to become a lawyer. He wants his fourth child to become to become a nurse. So this is an example of exaggerated perspective because he is the one deciding about the future profession of their children. Now, it is now exaggerated perspective because it does not mean that you want your first children, your first kid to become a doctor. It doesn't always mean that she also likes that way. You understand me?
Yeah.
Yes. You might like him. You might like the idea seeing your first kid to become a doctor, but sometimes sad thing, your kid doesn't like to become a doctor because he wants to be an engineer. Okay? So that is an
Yeah.
example of exaggerated perspective, meaning to say you are having that mindset in which it is no longer achievable, it is no longer reliable, it is no longer possible. Okay, and that makes parenting very difficult because you try to think that things will go according to what you think. But in real life, it's not all, it does not all, it will not happen at all times. Because your children also have their personal choices. They also have their personal dreams. They also have their personal ambitions. And you cannot just easily say them that, oh, you need to become a doctor, you need to become a lawyer, you need to become an engineer, because they also have their personal likes. Okay. So that
Yeah.
is an example of exaggerated perspective. Do you understand now this answer?
Okay, clear.
Okay. Now, why is it? Oh, all right. So, okay, it's already time. So we will. When is our next class? 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 Tuesday? Tuesday, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday. So we will continue to learn, yeah, to answer these things. Question number 5. Oh, yeah, this one. On Tuesday. On Tuesday. Do you learn something from our discussion this morning?
Yes, I think I learned a lesson really important in this morning. Yeah.
Yes, so because we can relate this to our day-to-day
Mm.
experiences because we are parents, yeah. And this book also is providing you with many new vocabulary. So I hope, okay, did you print the copy of this book? Did you print?
No, I put on my computer and I try to watch on my screen. Yeah.
Okay. So I hope these English words will help you expand or increase your vocabulary.
Yeah, I try to remind the new vocabulary.
Yes. I tried to remember. Yeah, I tried to remember this new vocabulary. Okay. So, yeah, this book is the topics of this book are very interesting, and we can relate these topics because, yeah, it happened to our day-to-day activities. So, see you on Tuesday, and we will continue to answer this question. Why is it difficult to be a good child?
Yeah, thank you.
You were a child before with your parents, so I want to listen from you why it was difficult for you to be a good child with your parent before. So we will continue to discuss this question on Tuesday.
Mm.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day with your family, and yeah, God bless.
Yeah, goodbye.
Goodbye.